And speaking of FEMA is setting up shop in St. Bernard Parish today. They're going to be on the ground going into communities that have been hit hard by Ida. Joining us this morning is John Mills from FEMA. So, John, can you just tell us a little bit more about what y'all are doing in St. Bernard Parish today?
Hey, good morning, and thanks for having me. So we're at Goche Elementary School, and this is one of our disaster survivor assistance teams set up here. And we're doing this in more than 20 different locations to help people get registered for assistance. Yesterday, we flew one of our disaster survivor assistance teams, thanks to the Louisiana National Guard, on a Black Hawk helicopter to Port Sulphur in Plaquemines Parish. That area is cut off because of severe flooding on Louisiana State Highway 23. We're sending that team back there today. We were registering first responders and residents for FEMA disaster assistance. FEMA's already approved more than $165 million in grants that have been distributed to survivors across Louisiana. We want to continue to hear from people, so we're bringing these disaster survivor assistance teams directly to the residents who've been affected by Ida at the request of local emergency management and the state. So as parishes make requests to the state, FEMA is trying to support state requests. We have more than 20 disaster survivor assistance teams across the area. They're not staying in one location for a long period of time. So if you want to find out where one is in your location, please check with your local officials. They'll be able to give you that information. For example, the one here at Goche Elementary School in St. Bernard, opening this morning around 9. It's going to stay open probably until about 5. And we're going to see how many people need this facility, and that will help determine how long we keep these open. Once we have registered and help people apply in each location, we're going to work closely with the state to decide where these registration locations need to go next. So these are primarily for people who need some assistance getting registered.
And John, I understand that you're in St. Bernard and you've been in Plaquemines. Are there other locations where people can go to get help from FEMA?
Yes, we're at more than 20 different locations today. And so check with your local emergency management, and they'll be sure to let you know where those locations are. They're moving so quickly, and we're working very closely with local officials and the state. Check with your local officials for the exact locations of everything.
And John, we just aired a story probably about 20 minutes ago where we had interviewed a few people who were having trouble with the online process of getting help from FEMA. Any tips that you have for people to get through this process online?
Well, first of all, it's important to stay in touch with your insurance provider. I would keep trying disasterassistance.gov. If you're having trouble there, call us on the phone at 800-621-3362, 800-621-3362. And I also want to say, if you don't have serious damage and you don't have serious needs, we've been hearing a lot of good stories about people who don't have major damage. They might not have flooding damage. So please, if you don't have critical immediate needs related to the storm, you may not need FEMA individual assistance grants. We're trying to help people with serious immediate needs. Their houses have been destroyed. Their houses have been seriously damaged. They can't live there. They need to relocate right away. So that's the $165 million in grants we've provided so far to help people with those critical immediate needs related to Hurricane Ida. And part of that is we're deploying emergency communications vehicles like this one throughout the really hard management, reestablish temporary communications, and also to disaster survivor assistance teams to get people into the system, and then they can even look them up and see the status of their case. So we can work one-on-one with people, with the survivors where they are. So if you see one of these vehicles set up and you haven't heard from your local emergency management, just cautiously walk up to one of them and see if this is a disaster survivor assistance team location. And if it's not, there might be one nearby, so check with your local officials.
And John, we had a reporter in St. John Parish yesterday. She was walking the neighborhoods and talking to people. I know that you guys have distribution sites where you're giving out supplies and telling people about the FEMA assistance, but some of these folks do not have vehicles to get to those distribution sites. What would you recommend for those people?
So the distribution sites, generally, those are not run by FEMA. Those are run by local governments and the state of Louisiana. There are locally available resources such as transportation that many communities are providing. For example, in the city of New Orleans, transportation is being provided to some of these facilities, and Uber and Lyft have special codes, and those companies are giving people free rides in many cases to get to emergency locations. We're still very focused on life-saving and life-sustaining operations right now. So a lot of people are stepping up to the plate to provide assistance for people who really urgently need help right now. And another example is that FEMA mission assigned the Department of Health and Human Services to open that medical needs shelter at the Montreal Convention Center. So that's one way we're supporting a request from the city of New Orleans that went to the state, and FEMA was asked to help support it. And that's how we did it, working with our other federal partners and the Louisiana National Guard and our logistics team to help get it set up.
And how long do you plan on being in Louisiana?
Well, unfortunately, Hurricane Ida was just a record storm in so many different ways. So FEMA is going to be here for the long haul. We're not in charge. FEMA is here to support the state of Louisiana and the governor's priorities for response and recovery. So we're actively doing that. Unfortunately, though, this recovery is going to be measured in months and years and not in days or weeks.
John Mills with FEMA, thank you so much.